Welcome back. You are watching Global Eye. U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff is on an 8-day visit to India to boost bilateral ties between the two countries. The 35-year-old Democrat senator who represents Georgia is the youngest United States senator in 3 decades. Ossoff interacted with the industrialists in the country, including senior executives from the Tata Group, Kotak Mahindra Bank, Aditya Birla, Mahindra Group, among others. I caught up with Ossoff and started by asking him about the business opportunities in the state of Georgia.
The deep and special friendship that I've built with the Indian American community in Georgia is part of what motivated me to come here, as well as my conviction that the bilateral relationship between the United States and India is one of the most important friendships of the present and of decades to come. And the warm welcome, the generous spirit that I've received since I arrived in Mumbai has been overwhelming. It's already been a tremendously successful visit, meeting with business leaders, with cultural leaders, with faith leaders, with the bright young students at Jai Hind College, celebrating the Festival of Ganesh with the community here. Already this trip is off to a great start, and I'm so grateful for that warm welcome.
Right. I'd also like to ask you about, as you said, Georgia has a big Indian American community, and you want to further relations not just between India and US, but also Indian states and the state of Georgia. Any specific plans that you have in mind in order to attract investments in Georgia? Any pitch that you're making to Indian businessmen, policymakers here?
Well, I've had very productive meetings with Indian business leaders since I arrived earlier this week. We've discussed particular opportunities to deepen commercial relations, mutual investment and trade in the energy sector, to deepen that trade for the purpose of improving energy security for both of our countries, the opportunities that are emerging in renewable energy, in battery technology, in electric vehicles. The state of Georgia, which I represent, is emerging as the critical hub in the United States for the next generation of automotive production, for lithium-ion battery production. We also host the largest single photovoltaic module production facility in the Western Hemisphere. So the opportunities for Indian businesses to invest in Georgia are significant because it's clear that Indian business is going all in on renewable energy, energy security, and energy independence.
Right. Just to ask you about the trade deal, it had received a lot of traction during the Trump administration. We were even close to signing a mini trade deal. But for the moment, it seems to have fallen on the back burner. What is the view of the Biden administration on any trade deal with India or even trade negotiation at this stage?
Well, I don't speak for the Biden administration, but I am in regular touch with the United States Trade Representative Catherine Tai and her team. And an issue that I've openly raised with my Indian colleagues is my desire to improve market access for Georgia farmers to the Indian market, particularly in pecans, which are a nut that is a key crop grown in my home state. India does not have domestic production of pecans, but they're subject to significant tariffs. That, I think, is an opportunity for us to help to define what could be the next steps that are taken to improve trade relations, continue to improve trade relations between the U.S. and India.
Right. Also, currently, an issue between India and U.S. is the long wait times for U.S. visas. I'd like to ask you about many H-1B workers in U.S. facing uncertainty about not being able to go back home to India because they know that there is very long wait time for processing of visas. Is that something that you're urging the U.S. administration to work on, increase staffing across embassies and consulates?
The visa processing backlog, which was worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic, is a real issue. And it's something that I'm committed to working with the State Department to relieve. And for my Indian American constituents who may wish to attend a wedding or a funeral of a loved one overseas, or have visiting family, or for businesses who are seeking to move employees, technologists, innovators, engineers between the two countries for the purposes of deepening trade, it is a significant issue and something that I'm committed to working with the State Department to address.
Right. Talking about the midterm elections, which are around the corner, it seems to be a very important moment for the Biden administration and the Democrats as well. We have been seeing President Biden delivering executive action after executive action to prove to the U.S. public that they have a solid plan to keep the economy on track and to grow the U.S. economy as well. What's your view on this midterm election and how the Democrats could perform?
Well, this Congress has passed some very significant legislative achievements just in the last few months. We have passed the most significant strengthening of health care for veterans in the United States in decades. We've passed the most significant investment in energy independence and clean and renewable energy in our nation's history. We've passed legislation to reduce the cost of prescription medicines for seniors and elders in our society just in the last few months. So there's a significant record of achievement built in just the last few months. I'm not going to get into election forecasting. In the state of Georgia, I will be campaigning hard to ensure that my colleague, Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock, is reelected to a full term. Right.
Just to top it with one final question about the rise of the Indian American in American politics, in American business. How do you see that growing, Senator Ossoff?
The Indian American community in Georgia is thriving. It's beloved, and we're talking about entrepreneurs, engineers, civic leaders, significant political participation, more and more Indian Americans who are running for public office in Georgia and across the country. And again, the friendship, the extraordinary warmth of the friendship that I've built with Indian Americans in Georgia is a big part of what inspired me to lead this delegation to India at this crucial moment in the bilateral relationship between the United States and India. So for all of the Indian Americans in Georgia who are tuned in, it is my pleasure and my honor to serve you. And as always, if I can be of any help to you, it's ossoff.senate.gov.
All right. Thank you very much, Senator Ossoff, for joining us here on Global Eye, giving us your view on the U.S. administration's view on India and areas that you would like the state of Georgia to work with very closely with the Indian government and Indian businesses on as well. Thanks once again for joining us. All right. With that, it's a wrap on this special edition of Global Eye. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to News and Updates on CNBC-TV18.